Welcome to the Feminine Truth Podcast with Mary Miranda, a place where you can reconnect with your wild, cyclical, and fierce truth. I am Mary Miranda, a mentor, guide, healer, and intuitive coach. I guide women on a journey of remembrance, reconnection, and embodiment of their inner feminine truth. Join me each week to tap into raw, unedited, and unfiltered sacred conversations to help women tap into their inner feminine truth to become bold, unshakable, and apologetic in who they truly are. Let's jump into today's sacred conversation. Welcome to a new episode. Today, I want to bring you an episode all about self love, dating yourself, and creating this relationship with yourself. And I am so excited because this has been my journey. And I went from not loving myself, not knowing who I was, to now fully loving myself. So, is this embodiment of self love that I had to learn to create for myself because I was clueless. I had no idea how to love myself, what it meant, how it felt. And now I'm at this point that no matter what happens, I love myself and I still have hard days. I still have struggles and everything. And there's days that I kind of beat myself up. But even through those moments, I always come back to this kind of self love and devotion of myself, what I made a promise to myself that no matter what, I was going to be there for me. And I want to make this episode for any woman who is struggling with loving herself and doesn't know how to start this journey, or you have gone through a situation where you experience kind of like a rupture on this connection with yourself, or maybe you've never loved yourself, or maybe you went to a relationship, you're broken up, and then now you're trying to find yourself or the path back to yourself, which for me, it's like we grow and evolve every single day. So there's no way you can go back to who you used to be because now you're someone with new situations that happen to you, new lessons, new wisdom. So you're never going to be able to go back to a previous version of you. You can always build from that. And the path of finding yourself kind of means that you already knew who you were, but if you have gone through things that change you, that made you grow, lessons, then you are going to be someone new. So let's just debunk that you can never really go back to someone that you used to be. Maybe you can go back to the feelings of being happy, being at peace, being joyful, having your spark back, and all those things. But the old version of you, it's already in the past. And now we have to bring the good of that version of you and build from that. And I feel that so many of us at one point or another have fallen out of love with ourselves, and things have happened that have created this rupture or altered this relationship with yourself. And the key is that just as love is a choice, you have to choose to love yourself every single day. You have to choose to be with yourself every single day. Just like if you, whenever you are in a relationship, or in the future, you choose that person. You choose to wake up and love that person. You choose to be with that person. It's the same thing with you. You are choosing to be with yourself no matter what. You're stuck with you, until the end of time. And you have to choose to love yourself. You choose every single day the treatment that you give yourself. And I know sometimes like you are so disconnected from yourself that you don't think about that, but it's going to become clear and more clear the more you do this work. And you have to choose to be with you and love yourself and have your back through the ups, through the downs, to the ebbs and the flows, to the ups and the downs, and all of it, the messy, the chaos, the good times, the happy moments. Like no matter what, you have to be there for you. And it is easy to love yourself, like so easy to love yourself when things are easy, when everything's going well in your life, when every single area of your life it's well, when you feel happy, joyful, when your mental health is great, when you feel great physically, when you have vitality, when you have energy, when you have the friendships and the great relationships with your significant others or significant others, I mean, relatives, your loved ones, and if you have a significant other or not. But I kind of wanted to make more of this podcast for someone who is more single. But if you are in a relationship, this definitely works for you too. So stick around. Maybe you'll get some great nuggets or pieces of information that are going to help you on this journey. But like I said, it's so easy to love yourself when everything's going great. But the true test is when you experience lows, rock bottom, struggles, a little bit of suffering, stress, when you experience hardships or those situations like losing a job, going through a breakup. That's a true test when your mental health is it's not at its best. That's when you are really going to know this level of self-love that you have with yourself. It's like saying, like, when a significant other is not there for you through thick and thin, that means that that person doesn't probably love you. It's the same thing with you. You have to be there for yourself through thick and thin until death do us part, literally. And how you show up for yourself during those hard moments, it's going to be crucial in knowing the level of self-love that you have with yourself. And a lot of times we are so disconnected from ourselves that we don't realize how we are being toward ourselves during our low moments, during chaos, during hard times, when you made a mistake or something happened and you beating yourself up, you're doing calling your names, your inner mean girl comes on strong, and there's a lot of like self abuse when you're calling yourself names, when you are beating yourself up. And I have been through that, and that has been such a struggle to learn to lower the voice of my inner mean girl and understand why I was literally being a bully to myself, and understand why that had happened and work through that and forgive myself and so many other things. But the question that I want you to ask yourself is, do you truly love yourself? Do you like yourself? And a lot of times it's like, yeah, of course I love myself, but consciously you can think you love yourself, but subconsciously, you are self sabotaging. You are not showing up for yourself the way you're supposed to. You're staying in relationships longer than you need to, like those toxic, unhealthy relationships. You are not setting boundaries. You're people pleasing. You are binge eating, emotionally eating. You are not taking care of your body. You're not taking care, meaning like exercising, meaning eating healthier. You are not doing a lot of things. And I'm not saying that just because you do those things means you love yourself. No, but they are essential, because when you really love yourself, you take care of your body, you take care of your mental health, you take care of your gut health, and that's through food, because it impacts your mental health, it impacts your mood, it impacts your immune system and so many other things. So it has nothing to do with your weight. It has to do with your inner health. For me, like, I don't focus much on my weight. I focus, and the reason why I don't really eat junk food or highly processed food, once in a while, I eat pizza crust or bagels because I love those too. But you're not gonna catch me eating like junk food, fast food places, just because I know how that is gonna be in my gut, and I am gonna have gut issues. I struggle with some gut issues once in a while, and bloating, and I just don't like how I feel. And then it impacts with my mental health and impacts with my mood and the next day. And it's just like kind of like this domino effect that I don't like how it feels. So I'm like, no, I'm gonna take care of me. And a lot of people ask me, like, doesn't that, like, don't you want to have like a piece of cake? I'm like, yeah, I would love to, but I already know the side effects that happen when I eat things that I that don't sit well with me. And I just like taking care of me. So that's one of those things. But like, you do you. I'm just giving you things that have helped me, things that I have learned on my healing journey, and the impact of your gut health that it has on your immune system, on your nervous system, especially if you struggle with anxiety, PTSD, ADHD, adult autism, that it's like so like it's on the rise right now for so many people, or if you struggle with depression, like any mood disorders, like anything like that, it's really going to impact. So obviously, I am not a medical doctor or a physician or anything, nothing like that, but I it's been part of my journey to come to realize the impact of the gut health in my mental health. And I don't mess with that. I don't jeopardize my mental health, my sanity, my peace of mind, my sleep, and my mood. I don't, because I used to be so moody and irritable, and it's taken a very long time for me to understand why that was happening, how the way I was eating, my environment, and so many other things. Obviously, I hadn't done much of the healing journey, but now that I know better and I have tools, I use them. And I kid you not, the times that I'm now moody and irritable are very minimal. And it's just like, oh my God, that used to be my normal before. Like, that's not my normal anymore. My normal is feeling at peace. It's feeling, I'm not going to say like over joyful and over happy, but I am like content. I am like at peace with myself, and I love how I feel. I love myself, and I'm just working on things right now to get to the next level, and I'm excited. But part of, like I said, part of loving yourself, it's taking care of you. And now the next, so that's the question number one. I went on a tangent, I know. So is, do you truly love yourself? And at the subconscious level, like, how is that relationship with yourself? Like, when you sit down, the limiting beliefs that come up with, how do I truly feel about myself? Like, sit down with yourself, journal, how do I truly feel about myself? Do I like myself? And I have some questions. So like, if you're driving, don't write this down, come back to mark the minute that this is on, but this is a little bit of inner work or journaling prompts for you. And it's like, would you date yourself? Would you want to be friends with someone like you? Would you want someone like you around? And this is more like, would you want to hang out with someone like you? Would you want someone like you around your life with your energy and all of that? Okay. And the next questions is, do you like your personality? Do you like your identity, or how people identify you as or perceive you as? Which I know it's kind of like, it could be skewed because you could be having a lot of coping mechanisms, you could be masking, you could be doing a lot of things, so people don't really know your true identity. And maybe you don't even know your true identity because it's coded with a lot of trauma, a lot of wearing masks, a lot of like you doing things in order to not be rejected or abandoned. So it's like, what is the identity that you are currently associating with yourself? And is that really who you truly are at your core, without the conditioning, the programming, if you suffer from or experience traumatic events or anything, like, who is the true you and that identity? Is it the same identity that everybody is presented with? And do you like your mindset? Do you like your core values? Do you know your core values? Do you know any of this? Do you know your personality? It's like, do you even know yourself? Do you like who you are being right now? Do you like the way you feel in your body? Are you connected with your body? Are you happy when you look in the mirror with what you see? Are you like excited about looking at you in the mirror, and you like the gaze, the female gaze that you have toward yourself? Do you like what you look at when you look in the mirror? And do you like the current reality that you are living? That's very important for you to know. So write those down, do some journaling around this. And also, the next prompts that I have is, did you learn how to love yourself growing up from someone? Um, and it's like, what was the relationship of self-love, confidence, self-worth you saw your mom having with herself, or any female figure that were around you? How did you view them loving themselves? Did you even see them liking, the commenting or complimenting their bodies, their hair? And did you see them like telling you that how confident they felt, or how happy they were with themselves, how much they love themselves? Like, I never went through this experience. And it's been like, oh my gosh, like I never learned this. I grew up like through very critical, judgmental comments from aunts, from people around me, from my cousins, and there's a lot of things that my mom struggled with, and it's because she didn't have someone to teach her those things either. So of course she did the best she could with me, but I never saw her as loving herself the way that I wish she had. It was more like very self-sacrificing because my dad was here in the United States and she was there raising us literally by herself. And my dad would go there like a few months throughout the year, and it was just like a very different relationship she had with herself. But that's what I learned growing up. And now it's like, okay, that's fine. Now, how can I teach myself how to love myself? That's basically where my journey started. And I had to start from that. But for you, it's like, how did you view a woman loving herself growing up? Did you experience that in your mom or a female figure, your grandma? Maybe you had older sisters. Were you taught how to take care of yourself, how to set boundaries, how to know your worth and value, how to stand up for yourself, how to know your standards, how to know like the main core values, how to love yourself? Did you learn that from someone? Did anyone take the time to teach you these things through not only through telling you, but also through actions, through you modeling or seeing them doing that for themselves? And were you taught how to be kind, compassionate, graceful, and be there for you whenever you made mistakes, whenever you did something wrong, or you broke a glass, or you fell, or were you met with someone being mad at you instead and hitting you instead of giving you a hug and soothing you because you were crying and you were going through like so many like an emotional crisis, where you met with love and tender love and care and compassion and hugs, and it's going to be okay, don't worry, everybody makes some mistakes? Or were you being like beat up or hit or spanked or told you deserve that, that's what you get for not listening, and someone being extremely harsh and critical and mean to you and rude, and just the physical abuse that comes with behavior correcting, like in many cultures, like me growing up Mexican, that comes a lot with my culture, as sucky and horrible that it is for me to say that. And I just hope that that stops, because that is no way to raise a child, by hitting a child for them to correct their behavior. I'm just completely against that. But how were you taught any of that, or because of the way you were raised, that's the reason why you beat yourself up, that's the reason why you call yourself names when you make a mistake or when something goes wrong? And like I said, this goes along with that, were you soothed as a child, or were you emotionally met by your caregivers? And that's huge, because this is how we start having unmet emotional needs. And it comes back to us in romantic relationships when we are adults, when we are seeking people, men, to fulfill them needs that our parents didn't meet growing up. So it's so essential for you to do kind of like a journaling and get to understand yourself. And there's probably so many more questions around this, but these are the ones that I could come up with. And the next thing I want to talk to you about is dating yourself. And I have two ways to do this. And this is more like, okay, now we're getting to know ourselves. We're getting to really know who we are. We're getting to know like our conditioning, our patterns, our all of that. So we're getting to know that. But at the same time, we also have to cultivate this relationship with ourselves and reconnect with ourselves, because you're probably disconnected from you for whatever reason. But now it's like, okay, I have this thing called Dare to Date Yourself. So it's basically dating yourself. And I have, like I said, 2 days, 2 ways to do this. Oh my God, what is going on? I have 2 ways to do this. The first one is things that I want to do as an adult woman that will make me very happy and just make me feel so fulfilled and excited. And the second way I have to fulfill this or to date myself is things that will help me fulfill an unmet need from childhood. So things for my inner child, basically. And fulfilling unmet needs, I know I mentioned this a little bit previously, but it's more, I have more journaling prompts so you can sit with yourself in your journal and ponder on this and really dive deep into this work, because fulfilling your unmet needs, like I said, has to do with unmet emotional needs from growing up, from your mom and dad or primary caregivers or anyone in your life, but it's like mainly from your parents. So it's like, what did you wish you had received as a child from your mom and also from your dad? Do two separate lists on this inventory. And what unmet emotional needs were missing for you growing up? And the first question is more like, what did you wish you had received, or your parents had done, or your dad had done for you, or given you, or said to you? And the same thing for your mom. And the next question is, what unmet emotional needs were missing, like in general, through your childhood? And what things did you wish an ex-boyfriend or ex-boyfriends had done for you? And these are the relationships that you had more kind of like an emotional charge, or they were harder for you, because we are trying to understand our unmet needs and patterns. So, what things do you wish an ex had done for you, had said to you? What do you wish he would have shown you, or given you, or done for you? So, do an inventory, and then you're gonna make a list and do the things. And then you're gonna make a list of all those things and kind of see the pattern. Okay, what are the similarities between my ex romantic relationships and what I had lacking growing up from my mom, but especially from your dad, but both are so equally important. Um, and then what you're going to do is you're going to make a list of things that you wish somebody would have said to you, that you wish you would have done for you, that you wish you had experienced. And you are going to start going to go and do those things. So, for example, if you wanted your ex-boyfriend to give you words of affirmation and flowers and things like that, you are going to go and start doing that for yourself. You're going to go and buy yourself flowers twice a month, once a month. Make a commitment with yourself, and you're going to do this to fulfill that unmet need that you wish someone had done for you. And what's going to happen once this need is continuously met and you feel so excited, but you have to immerse in this. It's not like just going to go and get flowers and get it over with. No, you literally have to go and pick a flower that makes you feel happy when you look at it, when you smell it. You have to build kind of like not even a bouquet, but in the base, you have to kind of the floral arrangement. You have to do like a little bit of like an immersive experience or ritual that it's going to make you feel excited and happy to do this activity for yourself. That's how you fulfill an unmet need, and you attach an emotional experience to it, and you create a ritual or an experience around this to make it more special. So the next time a man comes into your life, you're not going to settle for someone that doesn't give you flowers, because you already do this for yourself. You're not going to settle for someone that doesn't give you words of affirmation, because you do this for yourself. And the way that you do this for yourself, literally, it might be cringy for some people when you listen to this, but it's okay. This is something that I had to do for myself, and I still do it for myself. I I made some reminders in my cell phone, like every day at certain times. I would send myself a reminder, and it was in the form of a word of affirmation or a text. Or then I also have affirmations that I say throughout the day when I'm having a hard time, or even when I'm having a great time or a good day. I used to say this to myself all the time. I still have the reminders. I still have them come to my text, my text, my cell phone and everything. But I already like expect them. And I am not gonna settle for anyone that doesn't give me that. And my mistake last year is that I met someone and I asked for words of affirmation. And he ended up telling me that it was not his responsibility to cuddle me emotionally and to take care of my emotions, that I needed to go to therapy, that I needed to work on myself, that I wasn't as healed as I thought I was. And I'm just like, well, I'm just asking for words of affirmation, and I'm explaining to you how they're important to me, how they make me feel. Like, I understand that it's my responsibility also to heal that, which I had already done. And then he just like continuously was telling me that, and I'm just like, oh my God, this man is so harsh. He was so harsh. And I ended up walking away from that because I'm like, no, I'm like, I'm sorry, but no. And I know there's men who cannot give you that. And that's when you make a choice whether that is a person that is aligned with you or not. But this man turned out to be the most horrible person I have ever met, and I have ever sort of like briefly encounter and dated. We never dated officially, but just the fact that he was reluctant and he was putting me down and he was telling me that I needed to go to therapy. And I even said to him, I'm like, actually, it's part of a healthy relationship when you communicate and ask for something that you need because it makes you happy. But I'm not saying that I need this because I lack with that within myself. It just feels so good to receive that. And he was just going off the walls. And I'm just like, oh my God, this man, it's seriously. He said he had done the healing work. He said he had gone to therapy. And later I found out that it was mandated through the courthouse. So there's a reason why if a man ever comes to you saying that he has done the healing work and therapy, make sure it's not mandated through the court system because he had to do it. Make sure he's done it because he wants to be a better man for himself and for others. So there's one. So in this process, you are going to fulfill the unmet needs that you write down on this list progressively. Don't try doing them all at once. This is kind of like a journey of to do things that feel good for you. The next thing is reparent yourself. And this is becoming your own parent to your inner child. So you have to become your own father and your own mother. And through mothering and fathering your inner child, this is how you're also going to heal those unmet needs that you have, that you experienced growing up or with, that came also and showed up in romantic relationships. And when you, for example, when you are heartbroken, what did you wish your mom and dad or someone that you loved or that loved you would have told you or would have done for you? And is it, did you want someone to hug you? Did you want someone to soothe you? Did you want someone to give you words of affirmation, encouragement, hold space for you? What did you wish someone would have done for you? And this is what you have to do for your inner child. So this goes kind of like with the last one of fulfilling unmet needs and all of that, because it's all intertwined. It all has to go with each other in order for you to heal your inner child. And your inner child healing, it's like reconnecting with that younger part of yourself. And a lot of times people don't know how to connect with their inner child because they have been so disconnected from her that you don't even realize there's a little girl, there's a little person inside of you. For example, if something happened to you when you were 8 years old, that emotional experience sort of gets frozen in time at that age, and you carry that with you throughout the years until you are here today. And you still have that emotional experience at that age that you have been carrying, and that is setting the pattern for the how you interact in the world, the identity you have with yourself right now, and everybody gets to see. And also who you attract and the relationships that you had as you have had or have, especially romantic relationships. Because for me, my biggest inner work has been through romantic relationships. That's how I started my journey, being heartbroken. That's how the whole thing started. And now we are here and we're so aware and we know our things. But in order to reconnect with your inner child, let's say you do an exercise, you get a picture of your little girl, which is you when you were younger, and you talk to yourself. You talk to yourself. Like, just imagine if she was right in front of you, close your eyes. What would you say to your inner child? Like right now, obviously, if you're driving, don't do this, but right now, close your eyes and imagine you as a little person in front of you. What is she doing? Is she open to connecting with you? Do you even see anyone? Can you even see your little girl in front of you? Is she receptive to you? Is she hiding? Is she afraid of you? And you can start talking to her. If you are able to reconnect with her and see her and she's receptive, you can start talking to her like as if she was just a person in front of you, like a little girl in front of you. How are you? How are you feeling? And you can start saying, if you have been disconnected with from her for a very long time, I'm so sorry I disregarded you for so many years. I'm so sorry I forgot about you. I'm so sorry I ignored you. I'm so sorry I called you names. I'm so sorry I didn't pay attention to you. You can say whatever it is in your heart to her and see her reaction. And day after day, you're going to start building this relationship with your inner child and with yourself. And it's going to get better and stronger and more loving every single day, the more that you do this journey. But right now, just experience what it's like to reconnect with your inner child. And a lot of times, your inner child is not going to be available. She's going to be upset. She's going to be mad at you. She's going to be sad. She's going to be hiding. Maybe she's receptive. Maybe she's open to connecting with you. But a lot of times, because she feels forgotten and she feels ignored, she feels that she was not important to you, then you have to rebuild a relationship through reparenting her and telling her things that you wish somebody would have told you. I'm so sorry I abandoned you. I'm so sorry I didn't hug you when you needed a hug. I didn't give you words of affirmation or encouragement when you needed it. I instead beat you up and called you names and was so mad at you. I'm so sorry for what happened to you. You didn't deserve that. And you can just start building from that. But this is so important because it's going to create a really strong bond with you and your little girl through reparenting and through you showing up for her the way you wish somebody would have shown up for you growing up. And this is just such a good exercise for anyone. So let me know if you have any questions. If you want me to do a full episode of inner child healing and all the things, let me know. Give me all the details on how to find me, how to connect with me are going to be in the show notes. But I would love to know your feedback around this because I can definitely, this is something that I do every day. I reconnect and talk to my inner child every single day. And I've been doing this for years. So it's so worth it. The next thing I want to talk to you about are the five languages, the five love languages that we usually think of for a significant other, but this is going to be for yourself. So, in order to reparent, to heal yourself, to date yourself, and I know in this exercise, dating yourself, it's more like a healing. A lot of people say, oh, I'm going to date myself. I'm going to go and take myself out on a dinner date. Yes, it's part of that. You wish somebody would have taken you on beautiful dates or not to nice restaurants, or maybe you don't care about that, or you wish you would have done something like that. You go and take yourself out on those dates. But this is more like, okay, the words of affirmation, what things am I going to tell myself every single day? How am I going to treat myself? What kind of words am I going to say to me every single day? What affirmations are going to be my standard every day? Do I need to put post-its everywhere? Do I need to send myself reminders on my cell phone so I can remember? And it's going to be a process because if you have not been doing this, it's going to take time. By habits take time, 21 days or more. And you have to consecutively do this or continuously do this in order for this to become a habit. So, words of affirmation, what acts of service can you give to yourself? Receiving gifts, can you give to yourself any gifts? Quality time, how can you spend time with yourself alone? And I know this is a struggle for so many people, but this is when you're truly going to know the level of relationship you have with yourself when you are okay and happy and content and at peace, spending time with yourself alone, when you take yourself out on dates alone, when you go to the movies alone, when you are happy alone. And it's okay to want company. It's okay to once in a while go out with friends, have people around you, but it's also important to create this alone time with yourself. And the next one is physical touch. You can either give yourself hugs. You can only do and give yourself so much. So if you are feeling that you need some physical connection, You can always ask a friend to give you a hug, your parents, your relatives, or someone that makes you feel safe. It doesn't necessarily have to be a man. Because like I said, this episode, it's a lot for the single women out there, but also if you have a partner, you can definitely ask for certain types of physical touch to fulfill this need. But if you do this love languages, do them for yourself, and you're gonna see how your life changes. Because you're gonna a lot of times, there was one time that I asked someone, what is your love language? This person had no idea. He's like, what quiz, where can I take a quiz about that? I'm like, are you not aware of love languages? Like, how do you like receiving love? Or how do you give love? He had no idea. He had no idea. And I'm just like, okay, I guess not a lot of people know. I was not aware of that. I thought everybody sort of knew this, like a common sense type of thing. But when you have been on a journey of healing and not knowing who you are and trying to reconnect with yourself and love yourself, a lot of times, like, you don't know all these things. So it's important to get to know what love languages are the ones you like receiving love the most, the ones that make you feel connected the most. For me, it's all of them, but the most important one for me, it's words of affirmation. Like, that is my Achilles heel, also because it can be very deceiving when someone is love bombing you. So you have to be very careful with that. But words of affirmation, obviously, acts of service is huge one for me, especially when someone remembers, or receiving gifts. For me, those two go hand in hand. When somebody remembers the little details of something that I said and they do it, or I mentioned something and the next thing you know, they give you a little gift around that, and you're like, oh my gosh, you paid attention to me, like you listened to me. It's how these things make you feel. It's not so much about the gift or the acts of service. Is more like, I feel seen, I feel heard, I feel understood, I feel validated, I feel like cared for, I feel like I'm important to you. And it's the significance, and I feel significant to you, is the significance of and those meanings, that is what makes the love languages so strong. And the next thing I want to talk to you about is self-care. What practices can you make that can make you feel connected with you? Not all practices that you see out there as self-care are for everyone. For example, not everything is going to align and feel good with you. You have to choose something that feels good to you, that makes you feel good. For example, I don't like bubble baths. I don't like baths at all. I did them like a long time ago, and I'm just like, they don't make me feel good. I don't feel at peace. I just don't like it. I don't like submerging myself in the water and sitting there in hot. No, I just don't enjoy them. So I don't do them. But for so many women, it's like, take a bubble bath. It's gonna help you relax. And it's just like, it doesn't help me. Maybe I've done it if I'm sore from working out or something. But for me, these are not a go-to. I don't enjoy them. They don't vibe with me. I just don't like them. But for so many women, this is what helps them take care of themselves. This is what helps them have a me time. This is what helps them feel so good. For me, it doesn't. So you have to find things that make you feel good and resonate with you. And another thing, I don't like going to nail spas to go and get a manicure and pedicure. I just don't enjoy that. I don't like it. I just don't like it. So I learned how to do manicures and pedicures myself many years ago. So I just do my own mani and pedi, and it has nothing to do. Look, I just did my manicure the other day, like 2 days ago, and it has nothing to do with investment, because I know for so many women this is like an investment. It's like so much money with the nails and pedicures and all of that. It has nothing to do with that. For me, it's like, I don't enjoy it. I don't want to go. It's awkward not talking to the person. I don't know, it's just weird. I don't like it. I do it myself, and that makes me feel good because I create a little ritual around it. I watch a TV show, or maybe I listen to music. Rarely I listen to music, but it's more like I watch something, or I'm just like enjoying myself. I'm paying attention to my nails. I don't know. And one of the smallest things, I don't have it with me here, but one of the smallest things that I do for myself every single day that makes me feel good, I like when I look at my nails and they're done. I like looking at my hands, is that I um put oil in my cuticles like twice a day. I don't know, just little things like that make me feel so good. It's like the little things that you do for yourself. And another thing is like, I don't also enjoy like dancing and movement like around the room. I know like I'm very spiritual. So like this is huge for any spiritual people who like they're like, okay, I understand that to release emotions, you have to move and then you have to release the emotions. So there's like ecstatic dance, there's so many other practices. And for so many women, self care can come in the form of them dancing and moving and all of that. Like, I don't like that. I tried it and it just doesn't feel like myself. Maybe it's because it's so out of my comfort zone. And I also don't feel like I know how to dance. Like, I am not a huge dancer and it's just like an awkward thing. So maybe this is something that I need to try on my own first more so I can become more okay with it. But I don't enjoy it. For me, this is not a form of self-care for me. This feels like it just feels icky. It gives me anxiety. So I just don't do it. But for so many women, it's like, no, I love dancing. Even in my room, I just love movement. And that's fine. Build a practice that feels good for you. Do what feels good for you. And in order to create morning and afternoon routines, like an AM routine and a PM routine, it takes time to find what works for you. Like mine are built like they're built already. Like I did two TikToks around this. So if you want to see my morning routine and my PM routine, they're both uploaded on my TikTok. Everything is in the show notes. It took time for me to get there because it didn't happen just overnight. It didn't happen just like from one day to the other. I'm gonna do ABCD. No, it progressively happened. I started with one thing and then I added another thing and then I added another thing and then I did that for a while and then I was like, okay, and then I added another thing. And it was a buildup that happened progressively. So don't get overwhelmed if you don't have routine A, B, C, D, E, F for your morning routine and your PM routine. It takes time. I never really had a set PM routine. This literally started more a year ago that I started, you go brush your teeth, you go to bed. Standard. No, I'm more intentional with my night routine, the things that I do before I go to bed, the supplements that I take, the activities that I do. It takes time to build it. So don't get stressed, don't get discouraged, build it over time. And as you go, add things as soon as you do a habit and habit stack. Do one thing while you're doing another thing, and then create a routine that really works for you, makes you feel good and connected with yourself. And there's this other thing that I should have mentioned earlier, but I just thought about it. And it's like self-hatred and self-abuse. And this is a huge part on healing and going through this journey, that a lot of times how you are treating yourself, it's on a very subconscious level. You're probably on autopilot every single day. You're going through your day and you're not even realizing the way you are talking to yourself, the things you are saying, how you are treating yourself. So take an inventory of the ways you talk to yourself. So have like on iPhone notes, or I don't know if you have Android, I don't know what app you use, but track any negative thought, anything negative that you say to yourself, any critical or judgmental comment that you make to yourself, your inner critic. Just track it for 3 days and you're going to realize how you talk to yourself. That was the worst thing that happened when I did that, because I never realized the toxic relationship I had with myself until I did that years ago. And the way that now I still have my days, but now it's like I cannot believe I used to talk to myself like that. Like I cannot believe I used to treat myself like that. I cannot believe I used to be my own bully and tell myself so many horrible things. Like I cannot believe that. And I had to do a lot of self-forgiveness around that after I took the inventory for 3 days, and then I went around again and did it, and I was just like, oh my gosh, this is so horrible. I feel so bad for myself. That was so sad. The relationship I had with myself when I started this journey in 2010, when I sort of started doing that inventory list, it was such an awakening for me because I had no idea and I didn't even know how to work on my self esteem, my self worth, how to love myself. I had no idea. Everything has happened progressively and more so on my own because I didn't really have a therapist. I That's a whole other conversation, but I was betrayed by one therapist and I never wanted to go back to another therapist. And it's just been one of those journeys that I had to read a lot of books. I had to do a lot of like workbooks, a lot of like journaling, I programs that I bought, certifications. So it has been a lot of like journey, most of it like learning on my own and also through mentors that I purchased courses or I was in their energy. And it's just been a long journey. But self forgiveness is so crucial when you are beating yourself up and when you are treating yourself up. You have to come to forgive yourself for those things and try to become better and do better. This is why we're trying to heal and love ourselves and have this relationship with ourselves and also through inner child reparenting. This is how you're going to heal that because just think about it. What is the name of that movie? Emotions? No, it's not Emotions. Like, you know, that cartoon movie, Pixar movie. I can't remember the name of it, but it's basically a lot like that. And I think there's part two coming up in the summer this year. So I'm excited about that because I think it's all about anxiety. So I'm so excited about that. I hope this episode helped you create or start this journey of loving yourself and healing and reconnecting with yourself. And a lot of it has to do with reparenting yourself, with being the mother and father you wish you had, being the female role model that you wish you would have grown up with or had in the past, fulfilling those unmet needs for your inner child, creating this relationship with yourself. And a huge part of this is also reconnecting with your body, reconnecting with your intuition that comes after you do this reconnection with your inner child. That is the second step. It's like, okay, how do I reconnect with my body so I can feel more connected to myself and also my intuition? How do I learn to listen to my body? And that is the next step on this journey. And I'm going to be doing a future podcast episode on this. But for now, I wanted to do something around kind of like how to start loving yourself. And once you come to terms with, okay, this is make a list of who you are today and how you feel about yourself today, and make a list of what is your dream woman. And this is going to be so crucial, not because we are going to try to become her ASAP. I mean, you can do that through manifestation and things like that, but the embodiment of that has to come in time. And I feel there's a lot of pressure when it comes to manifesting because you're like, you have to act, think, feel how you, the woman of your dreams. But a lot of times, like, there's a lot of limiting beliefs behind it. There's a lot of blocks in the form of trauma or traumatic situations or PTSD, whether it's like big T, small t, trauma that you have experienced. There's a lot of hurt. There's a lot of disconnection with yourself, with your inner child. So that has to be the foundation on this journey. And you're really getting acquainted with who you are today, even if you're not happy with how you feel today, how you feel about yourself, your life, who you are being today. You're going to make that inventory for awareness. So you have clarity. Okay, this is me today. This is my current reality of who I am, my life, how I feel about myself, and everything. And this is the woman of my dreams. Okay, what things can I start doing today so I can be her, so I can become her? Not because who I am today is not worthy and deserving and enough, but because I know I can improve. I know I want to feel better about myself. I want to love myself more. I want to feel confident. I want to have high self esteem. I want to feel worthy and enough. And I want to feel like I want to be able to set boundaries, to stand up for myself, be unapologetic, not be, and not, this is not the key. not be afraid is not the key, because you can still be afraid and do the thing and walk with fear. I don't really believe 100% on fearless or never being afraid, because that is just doesn't happen. Fear just doesn't go away. You have to learn how to walk with that, and you have to be like, okay, how am I going to lead myself today on the journey on becoming this woman of my dreams and this woman that I love? And now that you have clarity on who you want to become and be, because that's a possibility for you, because that is within you, we just have to get rid of everything that is not you so you can become this woman. And a lot of times, like, don't like be putting things that are so unattainable. Just be like, okay, right now, I wished, because sometimes for us, it's like, there's so much pressure to make this list, and like you get so frustrated that you're so far away from that version of you that you desired. So you can do something like, okay, what is something that I want to improve right now? Okay, I want to improve my self-esteem. Okay, what things can I start doing? How would a woman that knows her self-esteem, who is confident, how would she feel? How would she act? What things would she tell herself? How would she dress? And a lot of times it's not about the way you dress, although that really helps with confidence, putting yourself together, makeup, nails, hair for yourself, not for the male gaze, not for anyone else, but for yourself. And it's like, okay, a woman that is confident, I imagine she thinks this way, she acts this way. Or you can also, this is where you find role models or women that are where you wish you want to be, or you wish you were at this point, and not feel like that's never going to happen to me, but look at them as guides, okay? What do you like about her? I like that she's this way, this way, this way. Characteristics, her qualities within herself that you admire. Make a list and be like, okay, these are the qualities that I admire in her. And believe me or not, if you are seeing that those are the qualities that are also possible that are within you, we just have to get rid of everything so you can start creating that version of you. For example, for me, when I started this journey, I was like, okay, there's this women that I watch on social media or YouTube, and they're so confident, they're so blunt, they're so unapologetic. I wish I was like that. So I was like, okay, I'm gonna write down everything that I love about them, and I am going to focus that that is the woman that I want to be. That is the woman, because I can be shy, I can be an introvert, social anxiety, and so many things. And a lot of people, you can still be confident and have anxiety. You can still be confident and have some days that you struggle. And for me, it's like, okay, that gives me a lot of room, a lot of like, okay, that is still attainable for me. And it's like baby steps. How does a woman that is confident feel, think, do, act? How does a woman that knows her worth and value, what does she do? How does she lead herself? Does she set boundaries? Does she walk away from those toxic relationships? What things does she do that I am not doing in my life right now? Oh, I like that woman, the woman of my dreams. It's a woman that takes care of herself. Okay, how does a woman that take care of herself, what does she do? How does she act? How does she feel about herself? How does she think? What are the things that she does that make you feel that she loves herself and takes care of herself? Well, she's probably a woman that goes to take care of her body. She goes to the gym. Maybe she does yoga, whatever exercise, movement, whatever it is. She eats healthy. She takes care of her skin. She takes care of her hair. Like, you have to make a list and sort of be like, okay, how does a woman that feels confident do, like knows herself and worth, that knows her standards, like what does she do? How does she feel? How does she act? And you have to little by little start embodying that person. And if there's a block, for example, like how does a woman that knows her worth and value feel, think, do, act? And then you're like, okay, I'm trying to feel like that, but I have this limiting belief that I'm not enough, that I am unworthy, that I'm unlovable. And you have to start working on those limiting beliefs because those are creating some blocks and you're going to sabotage and you're not going to do this work. So it's a process. You have to be kind, you have to be compassionate because this journey is beautiful. It's a everyday commitment, like I said earlier in uh, in the introduction. Loving yourself takes time. You have to choose this every day. You have to choose and create this relationship with yourself every single day. The moment you wake up, you're choosing to love yourself. You're choosing to take care of you. You're choosing to do what's best for you. And you're choosing to be kind and graceful and compassionate in those moments when things don't go your way, when you make mistakes, and if you're feeling like you have a limiting belief, or you feel like you want to beat yourself up, or like, treat yourself a certain way. Doing practices to bring you back to being kind and compassionate can really help, and releasing all those emotions that triggered within you. And for me, I do EFT some days when I feel a little off, or I am about to beat myself up, or I'm feeling so triggered, or something happened. I go and do EFT, which is emotional freedom technique, or tapping, and I release those emotions so I can come back to my center and my true self. And that has been a game changer. But I really hope this helped you. I really hope this episode is the start and foundation of you loving yourself and having a relationship with yourself through dating yourself and creating this relationship with yourself, because it is so crucial. If anything that I said resonated with you, or someone needs to listen to this episode, please share it. Also, send me a DM. I love to know your thoughts, how this made you feel. And if you want me to create any specific topic, I also love this. I created the last episode was from someone that messaged me on TikTok, and I created a podcast around it because I was like, okay, if you're asking this question, and any woman is probably going to be helped by me responding through a podcast episode, because I love doing long length episodes. Like, I talk a lot and I like long content. So for me, my podcast is huge, because when I do TikToks that are 10 minutes, they don't do well. They stay very low views, which is fine. They're still there, but I feel like with TikTok, it's like very a lot of people don't can sit still through 10 minutes. A lot of people just want quick content and the dopamine fix. So I love podcasts for this, and also YouTube videos. This is also going to be uploaded in my YouTube, the video, so you can see me, but also the audio is also posted on TikTok. So this podcast, I mean, YouTube, this podcast is posted both YouTube and video and audio. Not every single episode it has the video, but the recent ones do. And there are going to be times that I don't want to be on video and it's just going to be audio, so that's going to be great. But you can find this on YouTube. All the links are going to be in the show notes. And like I said, if somebody needs to listen to this, just share it. The more people this can reach, the more people are going to listen to it and connect to it. Maybe there's women that don't know my podcast, don't know who I am. And if you share it, people are going to get to know this message and me, and maybe like my podcast and like any of the other episodes that I have done, because I'm sharing everything that I have done and learned and experienced, and I'm not going to say healed 100%, but many of the things that I share are things that I have struggled with and I have overcome. And I'm like, somebody is going to benefit from this. Like, one day, somebody is going to listen to this episode and be like, oh my God, I'm so happy I listened to that episode. It changed my mindset around this, or that helped me heal this part. And that is like my why, like helping women and getting my message across. That is just like the thing that makes me the happiest. And if you feel inclined, I would love for you to leave a 5-star review. Whether you listen to this on Apple, Spotify, on any platform, please leave me a review. And I am so excited. So thank you so much for being here, and I'll see you on the next episode. Thank you so much for being part of this conversation on the Feminine Truth Podcast. This podcast is for you, for me, for us, for the Feminine Collective. Thank you for spending your time and energy with us. I so appreciate it. Please, it would mean so much if you could share this in your Instagram stories, in your Facebook stories, or everywhere so this message gets spread and others can find this podcast and this conversation. And if you feel like someone needs to hear this message, please share with them. I would be so grateful for you, and let us know your thoughts, how this has helped you, how you connected with this topic, or how this has felt in your body. And lastly, if you feel the pull, I would be immensely grateful if you could take the time to leave a review so more people can find my podcast and this conversation. I'm sending you so much love, and I'll see you on the next episode.